Start your engines and buckle up, because we're about to take a wild ride through the history of Formula One. From the dangerous early days to the high-speed technology of today, we're gonna cover it all. So whether you're a lifelong fan or just a curious newcomer, sit back, relax, and prepare to be amazed by the incredible stories, legendary drivers, and epic races that have made Formula One the most thrilling sport on the planet. Early years, 1950s to 1960s. Let's take a trip down memory lane to the golden era of Formula One, where the cars were not as advanced as they are today, but the drivers were no less fearless. The first race was held on May 13, 1950, at the Silverstone Circuit in England. The race was won by Giuseppe Farina in an Alfa Romeo, and it was the first of many titles to come for the legendary Italian driver. The race was attended by around 100,000 people, which was quite a big deal back then. Juan Manuel Fangio, often referred to as the Maestro, won 5 Formula One World Championships in the 1950s and is considered one of the greatest drivers of all time. Jack Brabham, an Australian driver, became the first driver to win a Formula One World Championship in a car of his own construction in 1959 and later won another championship in 1960. Back in the day, safety was not exactly a top priority, so drivers often raced on treacherous, poorly maintained tracks and in cars that offered little protection in the event of a crash. Although the sport may have been dangerous, the drivers were not fazed by the risk, seeing it just as a part of the game. A testament to the courage and skill of the drivers of this era, who were true pioneers of the sport. Fun fact, the famous phrase, the checkered flag, comes from the early days of Formula One, when races were often flagged to a finish by using a checkered flag, as it was easy to spot from a distance. The dominance of McLaren and Williams, 1970s to 1980s. The 1970s and 1980s were a golden era for Formula One, with the McLaren and Williams teams dominating the scene. These two teams, founded by Bruce McLaren and Sir Frank Williams respectively, have become some of the most successful in the sport's history, with a combined total of 21 Constructors' Championships and 15 Drivers' Championships. One of the most iconic moments of this era was the fierce rivalry between James Hunt and Niki Lauda during the 1976 season. Lauda suffered a near-fatal crash, but Hunt ultimately went on to win the championship. Another unforgettable rivalry was between Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost in the late 1980s and early 1990s, with the two battling for supremacy on and off the track. This era also saw major advancements in technology, with teams experimenting with new materials and designs to gain an edge on the competition. Ground effect aerodynamics and turbocharged engines were a staple of this era, making the cars much faster. Safety also improved significantly during this time, with stronger chassis, improved safety barriers, and more advanced fire suppression systems. As a fun fact, the McLaren team has been around for over 50 years, and in that time has only used a total of 4 chassis designs, M7A, M23, MP4 and MP4/4. This showcases the team's ability to adapt and evolve to stay competitive in the ever-changing Formula One landscape. The Schumacher Era, 1990s to 2000s. The 1990s and 2000s were marked by the domination of German driver Michael Schumacher, who established himself as the king of Formula One. Schumacher began his Formula One career in 1991 with the Benetton team, winning his first championship in 1994. He then moved to Ferrari and went on to win a total of 7 drivers' championships, making him the most successful driver in Formula One history. Schumacher's dominance in the sport was reflected in his numerous records, including pole positions, wins, and consecutive wins, many of which are still considered unreachable for most current drivers. His success led to the introduction of new rules and regulations in an attempt to level the playing field and make the sport more competitive. These changes included new engine regulations, changes to the point system, and limiting of the number of testing days. The Schumacher era also saw the emergence of new teams and drivers, most notably Lewis Hamilton, who made his debut in 2007. Hamilton won his first title with McLaren in 2008, becoming the youngest driver to win the championship at the time. A fun fact, Michael Schumacher's incredible 7 titles with Ferrari was a record for the most titles with a single team for a long time until 2022. As of October 2022, Lewis Hamilton and Michael Schumacher now have the joint most world championship titles, with 7 each. The modern era, 2010s present. The modern era of Formula One has been marked by cutting-edge technology and some of the most skilled drivers on the planet. The 2010s and present have seen the sport continue to evolve with the use of advanced aerodynamics to increase downforce and improve performance. The sport also shifted to hybrid power units, making Formula One the most technologically advanced motorsport in the world. Mercedes has become the most dominant team of the current era, winning 7 consecutive Constructors' Championships from 2014 to 2020. Red Bull Racing also emerged as a top team in this era, winning 4 Constructors' Championships in 2010, 2011, 2012 and 2013. The sport continues to evolve and bring in new fans while keeping the traditional ones hooked. The future of the sport is exciting with new regulation changes and the introduction of electric engines, making Formula One more sustainable and environmentally friendly. With the current state of the sport, it's hard to predict where it will go next, but one thing's for sure, it's going to be fast and it's going to be exciting. A fun fact, Formula One races take place all around the world, but did you know that the most used circuit in F1 history is the Circuit de Monaco? The circuit has been used in every F1 season since the inaugural 1950 championship. It's a true testament to the longevity and popularity of this iconic track. In conclusion, and there you have it friends, a journey through the history of Formula One, from the early days of Fangio and Hunt to the modern era of Hamilton and Verstappen. We've covered the legends, the rivalries, and the technology that has made this sport what it is today. And let's not forget the fun facts we've uncovered along the way. But the history of Formula One doesn't end here, the sport is always evolving, and it will continue to provide thrilling action, heart-stopping moments, and legendary drivers for many years to come. So, don't forget to leave a comment and subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you soon.